Okay. So we are at the second phase. Oh, how do I share this? How do I share at the same time? Oh, okay. Sharing. Okay, guys, see? So, yep. So basically, today kita nak habis this one. I want to finish this up because we didn't even reach halfway last week because it was like so much information. So the last bit that we were talking about the editing cuts was yeah, all right. Chun, boleh nampak ah. The last was we were talking about the parallel editing. You guys remember? It was the editing for the movie Inception. All right. Oh yeah, Inception. So I don't know if you guys have, from last week, did anyone, find, a copy of Inception and watch this particular scene? So just a recap on this particular editing style is that parallel editing is basically an editing that somehow shows uh, a situations that happens in different places, but then again it has effects of both of that situation has effect with each other. All right, so whatever happens in the first location or first setting somehow affects the other locations that was taking place. So that is basically parallel editing, and then it happens at the same time. But then for if you guys watch Inception, if for those that watch this movie Inception, right? Macam mana? I rasa geram. I bukan rasa geram. I just like feel like why, I cannot explain it without you guys like really seeing what is Inception, the movie poster at least, right? Because yeah, some of you guys macam tak tahu siapa berlakon Inception ni, siapa, who's the star in this Inception. So basically, who's the star in this Inception movie? Who's the star? For those that watch, who is the star in Inception? All right, so this is basically Inception. If you haven't seen it, yeah, this is Inception. Leo DiCaprio, JGL, Ellen Page, Ken Watanabe, apa lagi? Cillian Murphy, right? And then who's this French girl? I can't remember. Yeah, Tom Hardy, of course. Maria Cotillard. Is that Maria Cotillard? How do you? Yeah. So these people are these are A-lister. I mean, like, I didn't know about Tom Hardy before watching this, but yeah, after watching this, like research like his previous work, it was like really cool. It's like really, method actor. But then, okay, coming back to this movie, right? Coming back to this movie and to the parallel editing that we finalized, we finished with, which is last week, is that this movie, the punya understanding is that whatever happens in a certain places that takes place on that somehow synchronization is that the even though it affects the other places, but then the timeline that happens in one place, it takes longer than the other place. Macam like 1 minute here takes like maybe 1 hour at that other place that you just saw last week. So basically, that's the challenge in terms of doing parallel editing. Whatever happens, even though it is slower in that other, other location, but then it somehow, macam synchronized together. So that's how magnificent that particular scene was somehow, takes place. Yeah, so it's basically very, 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 very interesting to have that kind of story. All right, and yeah, again, siapa tak tengok, my advice, go watch this lah. Macam it's somehow gives another perspective towards how you do or how you write ideas and storyline. All right, so yeah, so that was Inception. All right, so we're gonna continue. We're gonna continue on, another all the editing style. All right. Mm. Okay. So kita go back to our name. Tutup this one. Our present window. All right. So we're going to continue on the next phase, which is editing video still. All right. So the next phase is cross-cutting parallel. Another, same as the, we're still same as the Inception, but then it doesn't have the effect on time like Inception because it's basically happening in the same, how you say, same. Kalau Inception, how you say that? Is it? You can say like in the same. It's in the same timeline. It's in the same basic settings, but then just different location. All right. For this example, anyone can try to guess what movie this is? What is this movie? The Dark Knight. All right. Okay. The Dark Knight. So who's this guy with the bag and the mask? Joker, right. Cool, cool. Ada juga tahu, even though this was 2008. And then, some of you guys know your stuff. Know your stuff. I watched this movie for the first time. I slept in the cinema because I was too tired. Kerja. I was working and then wanted to watch movie. But then, masuk-masuk movie, tidur. So I went again and watched the movie, and again, another time to watch it again. Somehow I wanted to make Christopher Nolan rich. All right, the bank heist scene. Yes, correct. So let's see why it's called as a parallel editing for this one as well, yeah? So let's play. Wait, can you guys hear the voice? If I were to really, I don't think you guys can hear the voice, right? Oh, how do you? So yeah, I have to turn this up. Yeah. Try. Can you guys hear the sound? Can, right? Yeah. Can?
Three of a kind. Let's do this. That's it. 3 guys? 2 guys on the roof. Every guy gets a share. 5 shares is plenty. 6 shares. Don't forget the guy playing the job. He thinks he can sit out and still take a slice. I know why they call him the Joker.
So why do they call him a Joker? I heard he wears makeup. Makeup? Yeah, to scare people. War paint.
All right, everybody, hands up, head down. I said hands up, head down. Let's go, pal. I'm making a withdrawal here. I said hands up.
No. Here comes the silent alarm. And there it goes. That's funny, it didn't dial out to 911. It was trying to reach a private number. Is it a problem? No, I'm done here.
Obviously, we don't want you doing anything with your hands other than holding on to the line. On the ground! Stay on the ground! Don't make a move! Nobody! Stay down!
You have any idea where you're stealing from? You and your friends are dead!
He's out, right? Where did you learn to count? Where's the alarm gun?
Boss told me when the guy was done, I should take him out. One less share, right?
Funny, you told me something similar.
No, no!
That's a lot of money. If this Joker guy was so smart, he'd have had us bring a bigger car. I'm betting the Joker told you to kill me.
No. I killed the bus driver.
Bus driver? What bus driver? School's out. Time to go. Cat's not getting up, is he? That's a lot of money. What happened to the rest of the guys?
Think you're smart, huh? The guy that hired yous, they'll just do the same to you. Criminals in his town used to believe in things. Honor, respect. Look at you. What do you believe in, huh? What do you believe in? I believe whatever doesn't kill you simply makes you a stranger.
Alright, even though it's been 12 years, even though it's been 12 years, still it's one of the best things, in filmmaking, right? It's still one of the best things in filmmaking. So for those that haven't seen Dark Knight, it's the Dark Knight, right? The Dark Knight, right? So yeah, you guys should go and have a look at the movie because it's totally different than the recent Joker, which is last year. Because I had a few of my friends was expecting that the Joker that was released last year was an action movie, so that was kind of funny lah. Because that was basically more like a drama, but this one is like, okay, this is action this is Batman all right. So if you haven't watched this, you gotta watch this because this is basically still for me a method actor that was done pretty somehow pretty nice by the late Heath Ledger. Basically he played this character, he was in character for this character up until he died lah. Okay, dia mati because he was so into being the Joker. He had to take lots of medicine sampai dia overdose and died even before seeing his own acting for the Joker. And yeah, it's kind of sad But then that's how the you know the Americans, but he's Australian, but that's how Hollywood basically, you know, uh, do their work lah. You know, they're into characters up until to that extent. Then yeah, it's kind of sad to have to lose a good actor like Heath Ledger. But then what you just saw is a parallel editing. Okay, coming back to that, is a parallel editing whereby it everything that you saw what happened at the same time. The reason why using parallel editing is an advantage is because you wanted to tell a certain information, but you have like just small or maybe like a you know small window of explaining that information. So what you do is you do parallel editing. You somehow cut to that other place and then coming back to the original or the main character and then cut to another place, so that you want to give information but at the same time you save a lot of time. So that is parallel editing. So Christopher Nolan is basically very well known with parallel editing, and somehow he goes crazy with it. You know that if you watch his other works, it's another one is called Dunkirk. That one, his parallel editing is like the timeline is like really crazy. I had to like watch twice or three times to like really understand. But then for this one's very straightforward. It basically wants to show the bank heist, at the same time what's happening around or what's happening with the other goons, you know, in order to make Joker achieve his his goal. All right, so yeah, that is basically one way, but yeah, to for you guys to like somehow explain a certain content or explain or tell a certain information, but then at the same time save a lot of time. All right. Yeah, and I somehow notice why Nolan does this is because he always shoot everything, and his director's cut is like really long, and yeah, he has to go with this kind of method in order to make it acceptable for cinema. Because his movie, his work usually is like really long, and then tak boleh masuk wayang suruh cut. So yeah, they have to go with this kind of method. All right. Okay, so that's parallel editing. All right, so we're gonna continue on match action. Are you guys seeing the window? Yeah. You guys see? I takut nanti tak nampak. Yeah, I'm presenting the window, right? Okay, match on match action. So match on match action is basically a technique for continuity editing in which one shot cuts to another shot portraying the same action. So you don't want to lose continuity, but at the same time you want to show terror. Siapa tu? Chilong Chia. Oh, terror. Okay, you don't want to lose continuity. Continuity ni macam sambungan yang smooth. If let's say the basic continuity, if you want to do like a conversation kind of scene, right? If let's say that person is wearing a hat, right? And then you shoot you're establishing, or your full shot is that person wearing a hat, and when you go close up, that person has to still wear a hat. If let's say suddenly the hat is gone, and then like my hair is gone, so suddenly for your close up the hat is gone, means that there's no continuity. Right? If you somehow want to maintain continuity, so whatever cuts that you jump to is basically it feels a logic that the hat has to still be there if you cut to another angle and stuff like that. So that's basically the basic continuity. But over here for match on action or match action cut, sorry. So that one is basically it's the cut is portraying the same action as the subject in the first shot. Totally different place pun boleh, but then action or maybe like the item somehow looks the same, so dia nak macam match on match lah. Okay, so this technique creates an impression of sense of continuity. It has that sense. It's not actually the basic continuity, it has that sense, and the action carrying through creates a visual bridge. Okay, so let's watch Pirates of the Caribbean. We have some Johnny Depp fans here, right? Johnny Depp fan ke? Oh, Johnny Depp memang he's a good he's a great actor. I mean, like, he always plays like a British accent, but he's American. Kan dia selalu dapat watak that British, or you know, like that southern like southern British or Welsh, Irish kind of accent, right? So yeah.
You're a pirate.
Has he said anything?
His name's William Turner. That's all I found out.
Take him below.
Right. Nampak tak? You saw that? I like his style. Okay. You mean Johnny Depp? Okay. So basically, at the end, if you like look back to that part, that's a match on match, at the end. Okay, this is considered as okay, this boleh. I feel like if let's say okay, this part, if this one, all right, and the cut to the flag, we can use as a match on match if let's say the cut was like directly to from here, from the medallion to the flag lah, but then it has like a few expression or close up of the girl before going there, all right, so it has the sense of continuity as well, but the one that's very directive on match on match is basically this one and this one. Nampak tak? See that? So yeah. So basically, by using this for Pirates of the Caribbean, basically it wants to somehow show that, of course, that's a like a like maybe like a prequel towards, you can somehow say that it's what's happening when she was small, and then they just want to show that as like like as a how she remembered that logo or that symbol when she was smaller, but then they not go directly back to the story, which is Keira Knightley playing this character. All right. So yeah, that's a match on action or match action cut. Okay, for this part. Okay, Keira Knightley. I somehow it was like really, I mean, when I was get to know this Keira Knightley punya actress, right? I like kind of confuse her with what's that actor, Natalie Portman, because they somehow have the same kind of look. I don't know if you guys somehow aware of that, right? Yeah, so kan somehow ada macam muka lebih kurang kan, like maybe the eyes and the punya design of the face or designer as a designer. All right. Okay, so next is match cut. Okay, let's look at match cut. This one I can't remember. Let's watch it together. Oh yes, this one I remember now. I tengok tu I tahu. Can anyone like know what movie by just watching this? Ada tak orang boleh tahu? Siapa-siapa boleh nampak? Can anyone answer? Okay, tak apa. Kalau boleh, saya memang power lah. Okay, tak apa. Okay, let's just watch. This is match cut. Okay.
Io continuo.
C'è pericolo che crolli tutta la casa?
No, se mi sbrigo.
Right, okay. What movie was that? Ada tak orang tahu? Yeah, Breaking Bad. Nice. Okay, so I'm sorry that it was like a Spanish version of it, but it was supposed to be English. But then I just got this one, online just to share with you guys when it was a Spanish one. But then the idea was that I want you guys to see the match on match. So like, let's like watch it again together. So basically, the pipe was leaking because not only visually, even the sound about match cut. Right. So it was leaking, it was leaking, and then continue with this one. So yeah, as a match cut, it has a sense of continuity. It macam very very delicate, that kind of kind of yes, of course, man. That's why it's still considered one of the best TV series ever made. All right, you agree with me? Yeah, you agree? Agree that? Okay. Yes. So yeah, this is a match cut, and even though, you know, the of course the basic understanding, of course, visual lah for a match cut, but then for the second scene is him drilling. It was a match cut, but then the continuity, the sense was upon using audio, all right, which is him drilling. Okay, if we somehow listen back to this part, he's drilling, and then of course the continuity is someone tengah vacuum. So yeah, that's how, of course, like Jaya Kohan say, how Breaking Bad do like the editing on top notch. All right. Yeah, so this considered as a match cut for visual can be applied, and also for audio as well. If you are very, very, very critical in your editing, all right, a match cut can be used in this kind of term, in this kind of method. Sorry, and basically, if you feel like you want to try, all right, you will try. Yeah, it was Spanish. It was Spanish, man. For this one, for your example, it was Spanish. All right. Okay. All right. So match cut. So let's continue. But then the other lah, okay lah, the try lah, kan. At least you guys get the understanding lah. All right. So next one is dialogue reference. Okay, dialogue reference cut is a cut from a character to what he or she is referring in her dialogue. He or she referring to. Okay, this one, it's because of our sound kan. Because of this, our sound is tak dengar sangat. So I'm not so sure whether you guys can hear or not. But then let's try. Okay, let's try. So dialogue reference, whatever that's been talked or whatever that you see on screen in in terms of text and stuff like that, it's considered as the continuity for that lah. All right, so let's look at that part. The sound is not so. Dengar.
Third ticket was found by this pilot burglary.
These are just some of the 263 trophies and medals my father has.
I got it. No. You heard about the stick thing? I light up. Who's she gave us?
She's just a driven young woman. I don't know where she gets it.
I'm the junior world champion gun shooter. This piece of gum I'm shooting right at this moment, I've been working on for 3 months solid. That's a record.
Of course, I did have my share of trophies, mostly batons.
Who's that one kid's gonna get this special prize? Better than all the rest? I don't care who those other fellow are. That kid, that's gonna be me.
Tell them why I want it.
Because I'm the winner.
What a beastly girl. Respectable.
What are you talking about?
Dragonfly?
Anyone pernah tengok cerita ni? Lagi Oh, yo ada. Damn. Okay, so basically for that scene, right, several times, Adam. Wow. Okay. All right. It's kalau it's like I think it was Tim Burton, right? It's Tim Burton's punya work, and of course ada Johnny Depp. Yeah. Siapa tadi a fan of Johnny Depp? Chi Long, I think. All right. So basically, dialogue reference is basically uh, it's a cut that was done because referring to the other scene what they're talking about. So basically it was from the newspaper that they were talking about that girl, and then they cut to that girl lah, whatever that was read in the newspaper they cut to that girl, and then from that girl punya scene actually what she's talking about they akan somehow cut to the medals, they akan cut to like whatever that the mom is talking about, it would somehow show the things that she's talking about. So basically it's dialogue, reference dialogue and visual, dialogue and visual of what they're talking about, what they're explaining. All right, so that's basically one way of doing it. Like you can cut or you can just do continuous shooting pun boleh. All right, so it depends on how you want to edit it. Like, but then that's the understanding of dialogue reference. Okay, Charlie, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I mean, this girl, this one I dah macam tak berlakon dah kan? I think just like is it just like a child actor? I remember now if she's still acting. But I remember when she was this age banyak movie dia berlakon lah. Alright. So coming in, continue in the next part is still considered as dialogue or you know or in terms of audio or conversation, but this time is monologue means like it's in the thought. All right, it's in the thought. Oh, power. Okay, it's in the thought, it's in the mind of the character. So a thought reference cut is a cut showing what character is thinking. Yes, of course, Breaking Bad is the best example for us to somehow look at all these editing style, right? So yeah, so for this one is thought reference.
To WW, my star, my perfect silence. WW. I mean, how do you figure that is, yeah? Woodrow Wilson? Willy Wonka? Walter White?
You got me.
All right, so that was one of the example lah. Right, such a good scene. Yes, such a good scene because it somehow takes place in two places, but then it's a conversation of one person. He's rethinking the conversation because it's in his thought. So means like the one that's the scene that's opening the book is the current, which is right now, for example, and the scene where he was talking or he was hearing or the audience was hearing the dialogue is actually it's in his mind and he actually had that conversation. So it's considered as a thought lah. So he's somehow remembering it back and then cutting back to that climax, which is him solving the mystery. So his own, in the story, basically his own brother-in-law, right? Jayakohan brother-in-law, right? This is brother-in-law dia kan, is the WW lah, which is the mystery person. All right. So this one memang best lah in terms of you want to do like a monologue. So if you guys remember back your screenplay, right? If you do like a conversation whereby you write it monologue, it's just it is a conversation within the thought only, but then the audience can hear lah. Of course, we can hear lah. We need to hear it because we need to know the information. So, but then in the world of the cinema, in the world of the film, he's actually thinking about it. That's why it's called thought reference cut. Okay? Yeah, the DEA. Oh, this guy. Oh man, I cannot watch this movie. This guy macam like very. I don't want to spoil, but then damn, this movie changed my life. I mean, this series changed my life. Okay, so coming into discontinuity editing. All right, discontinuity editing is a unique editing. All right, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's somehow special style in film that is antithetical to that of normal cinema, or continuity editing is this continuous sequence the filmmaker will deliberately use an arrangement of shot that seems out of place or confusing relative to a traditional narrative. Russian director Kuleshov, dia tengok ni later on, was a famous innovator in discontinuity editing techniques. He discovered the cinema ability to link entirely unrelated materials into coherent sequence. The meaning the audience derived from it was completely invented. He termed the technique creative geography. Okay, this is a technique that was done a long time ago, but basically it was like a discovery, but then to really apply it like for the mass is not like very suitable, but then as an experiment or as a as gaining analytics or gaining feedback, this kind of method boleh try lah. If you're doing like an art film, yeah, this kind of method is applied so that they want to see what audience are trying to digest with the editing that was done by the editor lah, right? So discontinuity editing, all right? So the Kuleshov experiment, they call it the Kuleshov experiment because he's the one that explored this kind of method. Russian director, he edited together a short film in which a shot of the expression of a man was alternated with a various other shots. I think a plate of soup, a girl, a coffin, a woman on a divan. The film was shown to an audience who believed the man expression was different each time he appeared. So nanti you guys, I think I have it. Okay. Depending on what object he was looking at, however, the footage of the man was actually exactly the same each time. Kuleshov used the experiment to illustrate the usefulness of film editing. The implication is that viewers bring their own emotional reaction to the sequence of image. Director Alfred Hitchcock explained this in editing technique in the interview shown earlier. Okay, ingat tak I tunjuk Alfred Hitchcock explaining about him putting a footage of an old man smiling, which is himself, seeing a woman and a baby, and then you take away the woman and the baby, you put a sexy woman in a bikini, and then you tambah the smile, and then it will be, you mean like the audience will get a different reaction seeing that. So basically, Kuleshov experiment, he's the one that invented it. Even Hitchcock, director Hitchcock, applied it. All right, so it's an experiment. Okay, all right, so let's have a look at it. Okay, so the audience believe the man first looked sad, then looked angry. So basically, benda ni is an experiment. Okay, they think how you guys perceived it. All right, so let's have a look. This was kind of hard to get dulu lah, but now I think dah banyak lah online, this Kuleshov experiment. Okay, so basically it's the same thing as what Hitchcock mentioned. You just change what the guy is seeing, and there's a lot of this. Just not dental tunjuk tiga lah. There's a lot of it, and basically you would have this feeling of macam like what just Alfred Hitchcock explained, that that person punya emotion changes in what he's seeing. Us as audience would have that feeling as well. So but then again, the way that it was edited, dia dah bagi tahu, he told that this footage of the man is the same. It's just how our brain works. Okay, whatever that he's seeing, kita tengok it's positive. Whatever that he's seeing, dia macam gatal seeing a girl macam tu. So basically, that's what he's trying to experiment on, and yeah, it actually worked. I mean, like we saw the first footage by Hitchcock. That one's like he macam gave a direct understanding of what Kuleshov was trying to do. All right, so that is considered as a discontinuity editing. All right, it's really cool. Turn on the aircon to do a plot. Okay, and Better Call Saul. Oh yeah, that one I tak watch lah. I think like macam after that macam was so sad. I don't know. Continue on watching Better Call Saul, but they say it was a good one. So maybe if I have time, I'm gonna watch it. All right. Okay, so montage editing. Montage is a technique in film editing in which a series of short shots are edited into a sequence to condense space, time, and information. Okay, from Russian director Eisenstein. Eisenstein. So there's suddenly like the other. Okay, a director known highly influenced by Khrushchev and known for establishing the Soviet montage theory, stated that montage is an idea that arises from the collision of independent shots, wherein each sequential element is perceived the next to the other, but on top of other. Oh, okay. It is his belief that the quick juxtaposition of certain shots helps to elicit certain emotional and intellectual response. Okay, so the Soviet method of montage includes different types of montage. Three of the most common are the rhythmic, intellectual, and tonal. So basically, montage ni, that was explained by Eisenstein, was that it has to have a primary footage or primary somehow scene, but then it was somehow being piled up with other scenes. So to create the rhythmic, intellectual, and tonal. So this was his experiment after knowing that Khrushchev punya editing was like that. So the American and British term for the technique is montage sequence lah. Kita pun up until today we call it a montage. Alright, we call it, where's your montage? Kita kena create a montage. We have to create a trailer. So we still use that lah. Okay, it is usually used to suggest passage of time. Okay, alright. So intellectual montage. Okay, intellectual montage is an editing technique that uses the quick juxtaposition of shot combined to elicit intellectual symbolic meaning. In the following example from Eisenstein's 1925. Okay, this is how you study film, guys. 1925 punya footage. Nearly 100 years old footage here. All right. A shot of worker attacks in cut with a shot of bull being slaughtered. A shot of worker attack, okay, that's the primary shot. And then the second is, of course, being as a bull being slaughtered, okay, creating a metaphor suggesting that the workers are being treated like cattle. This meaning does not exist in the individual shot. It only arises when it is juxtaposed. It only arises when it's edited. Okay, so let's have a look at it. All right, so basically this is more directive, and you can see like the effort was like really crazy lah to do this shot at that time, 1925. So again, just to somehow explain again, so what you're seeing is basically a war being happened, and at the same time the juxtaposition that was done by Eisenstein is that he shows people trying to like chase the cattle, and when somehow to like somehow create that montage of it is, I don't know if it's it is basically it is, I'm not so sure whether it's a real footage. I don't think so. Memang recreated lah. All right, but then the editing, okay, the editing, which is the intellectual montage, is because they wanted to create that metaphor lah, whereby at war, it's like you're slaughtering cattle. Okay, so by combining that in one sequence, so that understanding is created lah. Right, so there's a lot of movie pakai macam ni. There's a lot of movie pakai this kind of intellectual montage, so that us as audience would understand that metaphor. Okay, let's say for example, if you're macam apa? For example, macam if you're repairing a car, okay, at the same time, and then this is an old Malay tau. It's a Malay movie. It's called this one. I cannot find the scene, but then I want to share with you guys because if you were living in like the 1980s, right? Malaysian movies, they were really like very how you say, very daring. Oh, okay, daring gila. All right, there was like this old movie back in it was 1990. No, it was the 90s. Okay. Was a 1993 movie. It's called Perempuan, Isteri dan Jalang. Okay, this one. All right. Okay, just want to share with you guys because this is a Malaysian movie. Okay, it was a Malaysian movie. I'll try to find back the particular scene that I'm talking about. But yeah, it was daring. Malaysia punya movie back then was daring. It's called Perempuan, Isteri dan ... It's like macam you understand yourself apa benda kan. So this is the poster. So you can be surprised dulu Malaysia ada cerita macam ni. Yeah, because last time Finas wasn't that very, basically wasn't that terlalu, critical like right now. So we had this kind of movie, and I remember the metaphor because it was something that I studied in my class when I was taking, film history. They cannot show like Hollywood macam sex scene now. Okay, they cannot show a sex scene. So basically what they did is like they just show a woman in a house with a man and it was raining, and then the other scene, what they did is a guy repairing pasang tayar atau repair because there's a tire tercabut. So the other guy is repairing a tire where he uses a tool, like a tool, to somehow insert inside the nuts of the tire. So that's a metaphor. That was a metaphor. This is what I remember during my film studies. That was a metaphor of what's happening with this woman, which is, of course, is a sex scene. So that's how they did it back then, whereby they cannot literally show a sex scene because tak boleh lah. But then they just do a metaphor, like this intellectual montage, whereby they want the audience to understand what's going on by showing those two scenes. Okay, so yeah, I never thought of like really researching this back, but yeah, somehow I'm just wow, macam cerita ni memang powerful lah. I mean, those were the days where macam banyak cerita wasn't so somehow filtered that much. Now macam banyak kena filter lah. Biasalah sekarang kan. So yeah, I don't know if you can really find this movie, but then in IMDb, it's like 7.3. Oh, not bad. 7.3 for a Malay, Malaysian movie. Okay, so siapa-siapa rasa macam nak try it out, pergilah try. I don't know if ada online ke tak, macam ada. But then kalau ada, you guys watch it. You watch this movie and you find that scene yang I mentioned. All right. Okay, so let's continue. Right, continue. We are at this one is still a tonal, a rhythmic montage. Yeah, gonna continue at the rhythmic montage. Share. Okay. Okay, you're seeing back the presentation. So rhythmic montage. Although montage is typically discontinuous, rhythmic montage includes cutting based on continuity editing, creating visual continuity from cut to cut. This one memang like rhythmic ni macam dia kena ada tempo, but then it's kind of have the sense of fast cut as well. Yes, power aja Kuan. Who's this guy? Who is this actor? If you if you tahu siapa dia? What's the name of this actor? He's still alive, and he's still directing. He is a director and he still directs. Yes, Clint Eastwood. Okay, dia banyak banyak memes or 9gag use his quotes for this particular movie, right? Yeah, he's a better director. Yeah, agree. He's good at directing lah. Actor maybe those days, but now macam directing dia memang powerful lah. Okay. Alright, so this is rhythmic punya montage, kind of a fast cut, but yeah, I want you guys to somehow have a look at it. Macam mana rhythmic kind of editing is done. Epic lah. And then he goes right inside, he goes right inside dalam kubur tu. Alright. Alright, okay. So if you guys notice, kita tengok cut and rhythmic montage ni, the backbone of it, if you guys remember masa kita buat editing, kita punya first editing tu kan, I requested you guys to find audio, betul tak? You find your own audio or you use the audio that I gave you guys. So basically, rhythmic punya montage, one that really helps on the editing is basically the background music, right? Man with no name, right? Background music, alright. So basically, if you look at the scene, dia memang cut on expression lah, cut on expression, and then as as it goes to like very intense, it really follows the rhythm of the song. Or you tengok and then it really follows the cut, really follows the rhythm of the song, and then you can look at this the framing of the shot makin lama, it's like really close up, like really at the sampai kat mata je close up there. So that's basically the rhythm that it's trying to somehow create for this kind of montage. Alright, but it like really took like 1 minute lah juga, 1 minute. So yeah, to create that intensity lah. Alright, so yeah, it's one example, one good example that I can show you. I think there's a lot of other movies right now that do this, but then it doesn't take too long, like 1 minute, but then same idea was created. All right, so moving on to is, we call this an American or British kind of montage sequence. Okay, tengok this one. I gotta show you guys this.
Get up! Hey, come up! Yeah. Speed!
This is Rocky lah. Tapi okay lah, the same actor lah.
Wait 5, wait 6, yeah, wait 7, wait 8, wait 9.
You get the picture, right? You get the picture. I'm not gonna like really show. He's like somehow, achieve like running through the stairs. But then this is a very iconic montage. I wanted to share with you. We call it the American or British montage. Basically, it's shows macam during this time lah, macam I think it was like during this 1970s they created this kind of montage, and there's a lot of movie follow this kind of style. It's like showing us sequence, lots of sequence of that particular main character preparing. All right, so during the 70s or 80s there's a lot of style that was used like this, like really take their time on showing this part in that movie, this sequence is basically showing, yeah, again, preparation of the main character. And we still have this kind of style if you watch like macam superhero movies, any action movies. They somehow show this, but not to the extent of like a music video tau. This one like macam it takes like about 4 minutes. It can like really finish the music. But then again, there's some pros and cons lah. But then when it was like really utilized during the 70s and 80s, that particular song that you're hearing, that is like an iconic song lah for people to like really hear every time they want to train. Okay, because dia jadi macam music video lah. So but recent movies memang tak, they don't use this kind of style anymore. If they show like a preparation of that particular main character, it's just like maybe like a few seconds. Okay, and sometimes there's no like rhythm or music at all. It's just that you want to show it visually, give the idea, and then sambung the story. But for back then, this kind of movie, they really like to use this kind of sequence. All right, so that's why I wanted to share with you guys. And yeah, some of you guys know this movie. Yeah, I grew up watching this movie. Yes, that's why I rasa macam nak share so that you guys can see the difference of how they do it back then. All right. Okay. All right. So let's continue. We have sequence parody. Okay. This one. Okay. I have to show. I have to show this parody to you guys. Okay. Then we call this the montage sequence parody.
Today's approaching to give it your best. You've got to reach your prime. That's when you need to put yourself to the test and show us the passage of time. We're gonna need a montage, sports training montage. Show a lot of things happening at once. Remind everyone of what's going on. Every shot show a little improvement to show it all would take too long. That's called a montage. Even Rocky had a montage.
Okay, so that's basically just, but then it's just parody lah. So this one was created to like really, how you say, mocking this kind of style, this kind of American British montage. So they literally like create a music that saying that it's a montage. All right. So yeah, this is what I share with you guys. The people mocking this kind of style lah. Because yeah, after the 90s. I think after the early 90s, they somehow stopped doing this kind of style at the middle of the 90s. But I feel like Rocky still do it because we still have Rocky in a movie. He's already old, but he still creates that movie. But then the montage of it is not as long as the how he did it in the beginning. All right. So yeah. So let's continue on with this one apa? Let me check. It's still a montage. Oh yes, this is how montage is done. I'm not saying that right now, but I think during like 2005 and above, this is how montage sequence is done. But this is more like how British punya kind of film does it lah, all right, depending on the director lah, all right. So this one, have a look at this kind of montage.
Police Constable Nicholas Angel, born and schooled in London, graduated Canterbury University in 1993 with a double first in politics and sociology, attended Hendon College of Police Training, displayed great aptitude in field exercises, notably urban pacification and riot control. Academically excelled in theoretical coursework and final year examinations. Received the Baton of Honor. Graduated with distinction into the Metropolitan Police Service. Quickly established an effectiveness and popularity within the community. Proceeded to improve skill base with courses in advanced driving and advanced cycling. Again, heavily involved in a number of extra-vocational activities. To this day holds the net record for the 100-meter dash. In 2001, began active duty with the renowned SO-19 Armed Response Unit, received a bravery award for efforts in the resolution of Operation Crackdown. In the last 12 months, has received 9 special commendations, achieved the highest arrest record for any officer in the net, and sustained 3 injuries in the line of duty, most recently in December, when wounded by a man dressed as Father Christmas.
All right, so that's how the Brits do their montage. Yeah, Hot Fuzz. Simon Pegg, yes, Hot Fuzz. Good. So this is, I mean, most of the movies that that was acted by Simon Pegg back then was from one director, which his name is called Edgar Wright, and Edgar Wright really likes to do this kind of montage. They not save time, at the same time try to tell the backstory of the character. But I know yeah, it somehow explains in like a few minutes, right? But then if you look at the production, memang like really banyak kena shoot lah, right? Yeah, it's but then this is his method lah. Okay, Edgar Wright is like one of the best director editor out there. You know, if you guys watch Baby Driver, that one, yes, Baby Driver memang best gila lah, the editing superb. Alright, so yeah, he likes to do like fast cut in explaining. All right, but then each cut is like you guys are seeing like different stuff. Yang best so, all right. So now we're gonna go to next is of jump cuts. All right, jump cuts. Jump cuts is a cut in film editing in which 2 sequential shots of the same subject are taken from camera position that are vary only slightly different a bit. Okay, this type of edit gives the effects of jumping forward in time. It is a manipulation of temporal space in duration of a single shot and fracturing the duration to move to the audience ahead. This kind of cut abruptly communicates the passing of time as opposed to the more seamless dissolve. Okay, dia nak macam somehow jump that somehow journey, right? They don't want to show the journey too much. They just want to jump to another cut. Yeah, jump cuts, right? Okay, so which aims to give the appearance of continuous time and space in story world. Be this emphasizing editing. Jump cuts is in contrast draw attentions to the constructed natures of film. The jump cut was first made famous by French New Wave director Jean-Luc Godard in the film titled A Boat du Sauveur, Breathless. Okay, so I'm not so sure if I have that. I don't think I have it, but then this is just information and I somehow find out that how jump cuts was really pioneered. It was by this French director lah. All right, so this cut from one shot to shot 2 makes the subject appears to jump in an abrupt way. All right, so just macam the same position maybe change a bit in terms of the framing, but then the jump so that it will somehow show time. And basically actions also different. Okay, macam nak show that dia dah buat benda lain. Mula dia tengok or just watch the person, you know, driving beside, and the next thing is just like maybe looking at the phone or watching the mirror. But they didn't really see that that person is carrying the mirror. It's just jump terus nampak dia carrying the mirror. So this kind of method was started by Jean-Luc Godard in trying this kind of cut and paste. Okay. So you have to remember last time, you know, it's not like what we're doing, you know, using software. Last time that you pakai film strip, you have to cut, guna scissor, sambung all the film to do this jump cut. So basically it's a tedious work back then. All right. So yeah. So let's watch jump cuts in this movie. Anyone know? Main teka-teka movie apa? Alright.
You want to play some word games or do some experiments on me or anything?
No.
Rain on its own, it's that charm around your neck. Strung out a thing, calling some friend, trying to catch some check.
You guys feel that?
Acting dumb, that's what you call what to expect. Feeling the hay, feeling the hay, feeling the hay, needle in the hay. Swearing your clothes, head down to toes, a reaction to hear you say you know what it did, but you idiot kid, you don't have a clue. Sometimes they just get caught in the eye and pulling it through. Feeling the hay, feeling the hay. God, I kill myself. Feeling the hay, needle in the
Dudley, where is he?
Who?
All right. Okay, that was jump cut example. There's a few jump cut styles in there. For you look at the first. This is basically from a famous director, Wes Anderson. Have you guys heard of Wes Anderson? This is one of his work. It's called The Royal Tenenbaum. And yeah, Wes Anderson likes to use a lot of jump cuts, especially expressing emotions of the character, and at the same time, he wants to somehow save time, because he's somehow like he's the kind of director that use everything manual, so he doesn't want to put some fancy effects. He just wants to use the basic kind of effect, so he uses jump cuts. So at the first scene over here, even as this character is cutting his hair, memang banyak jump cuts lah. Suddenly macam dah potong belakang, and then suddenly the misai pun dah habis, suddenly macam like, it was like really fast lah. But then the frame of the camera is basically at the same position. All right, so that's basically the jump cuts that was used. And then of course he implements the jump cuts in this particular part as well, macam jumping into other characters, whereby he wants to show that he, if what people say, if you die, you will, you will flashback, you put your memories, right? So yeah, so basically this is a flashback of his memory lah, the people that's important in his life, and yeah, jump back to him was cutting his wrist. All right, so that's a jump cut that was basically utilized in this particular scene. All right, Royal Tenenbaum, Wes Anderson. Okay, I'm pretty sure nobody's watched this one, because yeah, this one macam the approach is kind of different. All right, okay, so yeah, we'll continue on to the next one. Is a scene transition. All right, directors and editor needs to carry viewers from scene to scene, from a sequence to sequence. The technique of movement and narrative progression is called a scene transition. These transitions are essential because they represent change, and without change, there would be no perception. You have to somehow change the scene so that you will know gradually the story about, right? So film hides its pauses to ensure a steady stream of momentum. It is an act of trickery, and it's very tricky to do effectively. The director and editor do not want to fatigue the viewers, but they also do not want to place distraction breaks in the story. There are many different types of scene transition. So yeah, I've gathered some. So let's look at, of course, this one you memang you dah apply lah, alright, which is the dissolve. It's very straightforward. Okay, remember, the dissolve is basically the transition that is, of course, acceptable up until today. All right. Okay. Dissolve memang
With a million
okay to
majority
use.
already.
It's been used back then up until now. Okay, so pretty simple. The dissolve from one scene to another scene. All right. Coming back, the second one is fade in, fade out. Yeah, the basic one. Remember, all these transition is the one that I cakap you guys kena pakai or you boleh pakai. All those fancy transition tu, it depends lah. If it kena, kena. If it doesn't kena, jangan pakai. So fade in, fade out, I'm pretty sure you guys remember this one. Alright. Basically very simple to understand. Fade in, fade out. So very simple lah. Always, and somehow these transition, all of them is basically the mood and the tone of your content lah. Okay, so if you know the mood and tone, the emotion of your content, basically you will select the best transition for it, right? So for this one, so very calming, very soothing, and more close-up shots, and even the camera movement is very slow. So they somehow decided that fade in and fade out is, of course, the best for it. All right. And then you can really see that transition really follows the audio. So even again, use the audio as benchmark for you to do the transition. Always do that so that people can engage to your editing style. All right. So let's move on. Okay, the wipe. Remember, not wipe like in TikTok punya wipe. Okay, but yeah, you get what I mean. So the wipe I mentioned to you, the only transition. All right, the only transition that is accepted to do the wipe is, of course, this one lah. All right. Which is Star Wars. Star Wars, yeah, but wipe. Okay. All right. All the wipes. Okay. So yeah, if you feel like you wanna do the wipe, you just have to make sure that kena with the emotion of your work. All right. Okay. Okay. Lagi, yeah, we're about to end. Lagi for a few more slides. The iris wipe. Okay. Growing or shrinking circle. Okay. Let's have a look at that. It signifies the end of a story. Yeah. All right. We don't have to watch the whole cartoon. So basically, okay, Irish wipes. Yeah, that transition at the end. Yeah, that one. It's considered as a transition as well. But yeah, it somehow signifies ending, or maybe at the beginning you can use if you feel like. Kalau kita tengok cerita apa lah, kalau Irish wipe, James Bond lah. James Bond, the intro of him coming in with that circle, and then he comes in, tembak. All right. So yeah, the bullet. So that is kind of it is considered as an Irish wipe, and then everything is blood and so yeah, it always used as a beginning and the ending, right? And it's very iconic, and not a lot of people will be using it, all right? So, but then it is considered as a transition. Another famous Irish wipe is I just mentioned, lupa yang ambil juga. Double O, yes. I mean, I can't wait for the latest one, right? And then it will start like this. So yeah, this is an iconic Irish white, and of course, it is just suited for James Bond. So I don't know if like you could like really use it and make sense of your work, but if let's say the understanding of that circle is like a part of something important in your story, then maybe yeah, you can start with a circle, an Irish white, maybe like a cup of coffee, circle, and just start your story, but then just open up the whole frame of your story. It depends if you want to try and explore it. All right. So yeah, and what else? North by Northwest punya editing sequence. This one, let's have a look at this one. Macam mana? I think I can remember this one. Oh yeah, this one is just. I just want to show you this particular sequence because of how they do the editing. All right. So I heard Irish White. All right. Okay. Tengok this one, North by Northwest punya editing. Can it is this is we call during back then the sound is Foley art. So what they basically yeah they can somehow basically use another sound for it and just add onto this footage. Yeah, good ear. Alright, detecting this kind of sound. Right, so one of your friend that solved the mystery. Basically, I wanted to show this sequence is basically of the sound, and during back then, I mean like making movies. I think still, I mean not just back then, but up until today, a lot of the sound was they had to recreate it back. I mean like logically, you cannot somehow shoot like this during those kind of days, and some of the scene over here. And so like for example, like scenes like this one, mana scene tu? Of course, scenes like whereby tak ada scene mana. Yeah, like this kind of scene, right? So this kind of scene, okay. During this kind of during this time, there was no like technology of like macam green screen apa semua tau. There's no green screen yet. Okay, so the thing is during back then, if there's a driving scene, if there's a chasing scene, they would do like a screen at the back and they would somehow play that footage, and at the front is have to act lah. So this basically I just want to show you because of for this particular scene, right? Two of this of course is taking place at different place and time, but then how the smoothness of the editing it makes it look so good up until today pun nampak nice the punya editing. All right, it looks like it was like the person was there, but then actually last time how they did this kind of scene is basically at the projection at the back, and they have to shoot the projection and this guy at the same time. That's why macam tunjuk kat you guys. This was before, of course, green screen lah. And what makes it so awesome is that today we are using this technique back, slowly trying to like change the green screen punya technique, coming back to this kind of style whereby projection at the back, right? Projection at the back, and then of course shooting and acting, and behind has LED projection. Okay, so this is the current way of doing it right now, and of course editing both of those footage lagi senang. All right, so yeah, so I just want to show you guys this one as a last last part in our lecture for today. So what's the last one is the bird. Okay, the bird ni is I put a share, I just let you guys see for ending our lecture for today. All right, so this is the birds sequence, famous editing that I wanted to share. Back then it was 1963, guys. 1963. I think my dad was just like, even my dad was small. I don't know if your dad exists yet. Your dad exists tak lagi? 1963. My dad is still like darjah 2 or darjah 1. Right? So yeah, let's watch this one. Oh, okay. You know what movie clips, right? So that's basically one of the bird Birdman. Birdman. Okay, so basically this one pun sama. During that time, like manually have to do all the composition, recomposition of few films that they shoot, and then projections. It was like really tough to do this kind of scene back then. But yeah, they managed to make it look so good. Even now you watch it, you look like macam mas still cantik. And of course some like props, and of course prop that is handheld by human. The birds are the orang yang control it. So basically during that time, this is the method lah. All right, that's why I feel like macam wanted to show you guys this sequence, because it's really really tough to do. And the thing is that I mentioned, like, they are changing back to this kind of projection kind of method is because of it somehow solve lots of issues in shooting production. Okay, so this one is basically the last that I want to share. Maybe you guys can go and watch it yourself. Is the okay. So I want you guys to go see this one. Yeah, this one. Okay, this is what we are embarking on. If let's say you feel like you memang suka buat production, right? So this is basically what we are embarking on. We're coming back to the fact that we're not using green screen anymore. We're coming back to projection, just like the old days, right? Just like the old days. Is and yeah, let's watch this one as final lah. Okay, kita tengok sikit. You guys watch this one? This one best. This is one of my favorite series now. Okay, so just watch this because I want to share and how they edit or the sequence that they do this kind of movie. Just to end this part, okay?
While filming this scene from Disney's The Mandalorian.
Oops. Can you hear the sound? Guys, hear the sound? Can you guys hear the sound of it? They can. Dengar sound, huh?
The actors could see their surroundings, but the surroundings weren't actually there.
Okay.
All of this is just LED screens displaying backgrounds pre-made in a video game engine. Compare that with this fight scene from Avengers Endgame, where actors jumped around in a sea of green, imagining how VFX artists would make this planet look once filming had ended. The Mandalorian is one of the first major productions to choose LED walls over green screens, and the benefits for the actors are just the tip of the iceberg. LED walls make the lighting better, filming smoother, and in certain cases cost a lot less than using green screens. But to understand why the team behind The Mandalorian chose these LED screens, we have to understand just how they work. Mandalorian showrunner Jon Favreau revolutionized virtual production while directing The Lion King and The Jungle Book. However, the process for these two remakes still relied heavily on blue screen and post-production work. For The Mandalorian, LED wall technology seemed like the next logical step, given the show's production budget and time frame. Now, you may be thinking, this isn't so
from
new.
back then, you know?
I've seen something like this before. And you're right, kind of. The predecessor to what we see on The Mandalorian is a driving scene like this one from Dr. No. You've got the actor in the car, and behind them, a screen with footage of the road they've travelled. But the technology was limited. Say you want to move the camera angle during the scene. That projected footage can't move with the camera. But by using Unreal Engine, tech borrowed from the video game field, that problem is solved. Artists can create a photorealistic 3D background that moves strictly with the camera's field of view, known as the frustum. So if the camera swings around and changes angles, the background shifts in precisely the same way. This allows motion-tracked cameras to execute traditional cinematography techniques within the virtual set, achieving cinematic movements like the parallax effect, where an object in the foreground moves at a different speed than the background, amplifies the illusion of filming at an actual location. Now that LED screens can move with the camera's eye, virtual sets can solve a bunch of green screen problems. The biggest one probably being lighting.
We've all seen movies, TV shows where the lighting on the day didn't necessarily match the post-production work that was added many, many months later.
That's Richard Bluff, Industrial Light and Magic's VFX supervisor for The Mandalorian. He says lighting is one of the key benefits of working with virtual sets. The light coming from the LEDs provide realistic colors and reflections on the actors and props, something you simply can't achieve with green screen. They are also able to completely avoid the problem of spill. To better understand that, we talked to Kim Libreri at Epic Games, creators of Unreal Engine, which was used to build the virtual sets for The Mandalorian.
The problem with a green screen is that you have to have a green screen behind you. And what that does is that instead of projecting beautiful lighting from what the environment would be behind you, it basically puts a lot of green light on you. And we call that spill. If you wrap an actor with a big 360 LED wall, you can light in a way that you would never be able to do on a green screen. So you can really make it feel like the characters are embedded in their environments.
This green screen spill would have been an even bigger problem than usual for The Mandalorian, whose main character gets a shiny new suit of armor early on in the season. So realistic lighting from the LEDs makes the show look better, but virtual sets help with practical concerns too. Take this scene in the office of the client, played by Werner Herzog. In a scene like this, surely they just built a simple set, right? Wrong. All of this is that same LED screen. According to Richard, only the desk, the floor, and one or two columns were really there.
Everything else was displayed on the screen. But this
best
allowed
gila.
us to limit
Right,
the
it's
amount
like
of stage
super
space that
awesome,
we
right? They have this
used in
kind of side,
shooting
like
season 1 of Mandalorian,
they
which
save a lot of
has
money, lah.
understandably a
Right?
big impact
Don't have to do
on
like
time
art
and budget.
department and like really
To
save a
be
lot of
fair,
money on
the
art
initial
department.
investment in a virtual set like
But
this
they
is
are,
huge.
but
However,
the
the
price
creators
of
claim
making
that
it is
money
like really
saved from
mahal
traveling
lah.
to locations, building new sets, and costly post-production can make the investment worth it.
Yep.
Along with saving time and money, the team developed a system that allowed artists to make changes and control the world on the day of shooting.
And then you like
Settings
literally
like
seeing it
exposure,
depan
color,
mata,
animation
so
playback,
that's
and
how
fill
awesome
lighting
it
are
is.
available to the filmmakers at a moment's notice.
This is something like
If they want to move a mountain from one
for the
side of the virtual
future,
set to the
coming
other,
back to
they
this
can, right
projection,
there on set.
right?
Not only is it helpful for the actor, who no longer has to imagine where that mountain is, but it's a game changer for the director of photography.
Because in the distance, if there is a mountain range that is a story point, then the DP is no longer guessing
Alright.
where those elements are. He can frame
Okay.
up to them.
Alright, okay, tak apalah. You guys feel like nak tengok lagi, you guys can watch it in YouTube. But yeah, I just want to share this because I feel like this is something yang, yeah, it was gonna change the filmmaking industry in terms of sequence, you know, sequencing the story. Alright, okay guys, yeah, we just nice. It's gonna be like 12 soon. So yeah, we ended the editing lecture, and for next week, I think we're gonna talk about sound. All right, sound apa nanti. So, is there any question, guys? Before I let you guys go, how's your production and everything? And yeah, I mentioned in the earlier and during we started the lecture that if you decide to shoot in college, my advice is find another location. Okay, guys, that's my advice. All right, so okay, so that's for today's lecture. And if you have any questions, you can just find me and just email me or anything, and then yeah, or just can comment me in our Google Classroom. Okay, guys. All right, so we'll continue you guys in the next class, and good luck for those that are going to shoot. Stay safe, follow SOP and everything, and yeah, I hope that you guys have a good time shooting. All right, guys. All right, that's for today. So just write your name and ID, and you guys can continue with the other class. See you guys. Bye. Thank you.